Marc Bergevin, I understand it because he's still on the job and he gets asked the question. He's going to answer it as if he's still employed there next year. But he comes out at the GM meetings and goes, Claude Julien's returning.
Yeah.
How do we know Marc Bergevin's returning? Like, how does he stay just based on the pressure of that market, Canadian City, and they missed the playoffs 3 or 4 years in a row?
Well, look, the only marker for me that Bergevin is staying is that he didn't trade Tomas Tatar and he didn't trade Jeff Petrie. I think if those two players had been moved, that would have been a more clear indication that, okay, ownership is just trying to clear some things out to build for a longer-term future. But then you start to wonder, okay, if the general manager is allowed to do that level of work at the trade deadline, is he the guy that's going to enter into the next phase of a full-on rebuild/renovation? So, the fact that he didn't do a whole heck of a lot in that regard, and then he came out this week and said that Claude Julien is coming back as head coach, it sounds like Jeff Molson is willing to give him one more crack at this. But he has got to do heavy lifting in the offseason. He's got to do heavy lifting. And that's bringing in players, and the only way you do that is via trade or free agency, or, you ready for it? Offer sheet.
Oh, Darren, I already told you about that. Don't start.
He was the only one that did it last
You know
July.
who might get an offer sheet? Matthew Barzal.
Or Pierre-Luc Dubois, but Barzal for sure for me is a target. Based on
You're gonna get radio, Darren. I'm telling you right now. You're gonna get radio.
No, you're right, but it just think of. I watch. It's recency bias. I watched that kid play last night.
Barzal, you're saying.
He's a star. I don't
know if anyone would do it to Lou. I really don't. I don't know if anyone would do it to Lou Lamoriello.
Dude, he's not a mobster.
I'm not saying that there would be retribution. I'm saying out of respect.
Right.
Out of respect to Lou, I'm not convinced anyone would do it to him.
I just say it. I don't know. I was trying to think in my mind, rationally, what would a contract for him look like? Is he double digits?
He's got to be close, doesn't he?
Right.
I don't know.
Probably a $9 million
The Rantanen deal, I would say. He's probably 6 years, 9.25. Something like that. I don't know.
I think he thinks he's more, and he might be more.
But my point of even bringing this up, and it's obviously very speculative, is that I feel like that's the amount of pressure that should be on Marc Bergevin, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what are you doing with Carey Price? If you're not willing to be as bold as offer sheeting, using the mechanics of the collective bargaining agreement to your advantage, then what are you doing with Carey Price? What are you doing with Shea Weber? These guys aren't going to be around forever. And you hurt your team by making a real significant trade. And, with all due respect to the Montreal Canadiens, Canadian teams in general, and when I look at the pending unrestricted free agent sheet, there's not a lot of big names that are going to be that attractive, that are going to push you over the top. So, he's got to be willing to consider a big-time offer sheet at some point, I would think.